Food, glorious food. Na, 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 na. Okay, I don't know the rest of that song. Food. Everybody likes food. We need food, clearly. You have all sorts of different food you can pick from. Good food, great food, super amazing food, and bad food. Yuck. Here in America, we clearly have a bunch of different options for food. Some parts of the country have good food, and some have lousy food. Each state has developed over time its own unique culinary concoctions. To you and I, they may taste delicious or raunchy. So pull up a chair and let's get ready to eat. We're going to talk about the worst and best places for food in America. And stick around, because at the end, we're going to talk about the most popular food and the grossest food in the US too. Let's get started. I hate bad cuisine. I hate bad cuisine. I want a food scene. I want a food scene that's the best. Stuff to eat that's not a mess. If I have to clean my whole plate, I'm gonna puke my guts, I swear it. We begin our food review in the state of Alaska. Now, there's a really good chance you probably haven't been to Alaska, but a poll indicated that Alaska is in our top 5 most wanted to visit state list. What do they eat here that's so terrible? Well, if you want to eat like a local, you'll be consuming copious amounts of marine mammals and reindeer. How does a plate of reindeer sausage along with muktuk and a bowl of aqueduct sound? Muktuk is frozen whale blubber and the skin. Whale skin? It's usually eaten raw, but they deep fry it or pickle it sometimes. It's rubbery. Picture eating salty rubber bands. Aqueduct is an Eskimo dessert made from seal oil, reindeer fat, local berries, and snow. So it kind of sounds like you're eating a pile of stuff you'd find while wandering around lost, but for dessert. No idea on if the snow is cleaned or not. I don't know how you'd clean snow. Now, the reindeer part doesn't sound so bad. It's not gamey, and it hardly has any fat. And in Alaska's defense, at least they have a seemingly endless supply of salmon up here. Salmon? Well, good eating. Now, North Dakota is becoming a popular state to move to for people who want to work in the oil industry or who want to escape the drama in nearby Minneapolis, which has really changed. But the food is certainly not a reason to move to North Dakota. Lutefisk is a state favorite. That's kind of not going to be yours. It's a Norwegian dish. It's basically dried whitefish like cod, and they pickle it in lye, which is what soap is made of. It's like eating jelly soaked in tuna juice. That's not the whole meal. You can get it with boiled potatoes and mashed green peas and small pieces of bacon, which is the only part of the meal that's actually worth it. If it were me, I'd be picking the bacon out of it and mixing it in with the potatoes. Other North Dakota favorites? Hot dish made of starch potatoes, canned cream of mushroom soup, frozen veggies, and meat. North Dakota people eat this at funerals, which is totally appropriate since funerals are supposed to be sad. Where's our next worst state for food?
Alabama.
Hey, Mappy, that's quite a contraption you have there.
It's a slide. This is my slide show. Get it?
Yeah, Mappy, I do. That's clever. Good for you, bud. So why is Alabama such a bad state for food?
While some southern states are steeped in tradition for soul food, Alabama diets consist primarily of fast food.
Fast food? Like almost everyone in Alabama eats fast food? Mappy's right. There's more fast food restaurants in Alabama per capita than any other state. Just over 6 per 10,000 people. And Alabamans spend 60% of their dining budgets on fast food. What the? Whether it's Burger King or Hooters or Publix Subs or Zaxby's or Checkers or Chick-fil-A, no wonder 2/3 of the population's overweight. 80% of adults here don't eat enough fruits and veggies. But some Alabama people don't eat out. What's their go-to cuisine that ranks so poorly? Barbecue is not terrible here, though fried okra, fried green tomatoes, fried catfish, and boiled peanuts are not very tasty. Catfish tastes like dirt, okra tastes like snot, boiled peanuts taste like wet paper bags, and chicken and waffles is just weird. The waffles part is tasty. No wonder why they eat so much fast food here.
I like ambrosia salad. Alabama people make that too.
Mappy, you must like sugar then. All that canned pineapple, mandarin oranges, marshmallows, and Cool Whip. Get out of here with that. I think Mappy needs a little bit more food culture. Speaking of no food culture, Leaving the Deep South, we come to a state that has some of the worst food because they have no food culture, Utah. Utah also ranks in the top 5 for fast food consumption. Home to Kentucky Fried Chicken and 2 burger joints they love, Crown Burgers and Arctic Circle. The only real food fare that Utahns can claim as their own is they invented the Jell-O mold. Jell-O mold is a blob of Jell-O with fruit pieces stuck in it, and Utahns eat more Jell-O than any other state. Utah actually made a state resolution urging Jell-O recognition and proclaiming the second week of February Jell-O Week, like a senator in Utah made a bill naming Jell-O as the state snack. It reads, whereas Utah is the state which eats the most Jell-O, and whereas Jell-O is good family fun just like Utah, and whereas Utah was called the Jell-O state, whereas, look at all these whereas's reasons why Utah is just perfect for Jell-O. They pay people to make these laws. The bill passed 25-2. I guess 2 people don't like Jell-O here. And Bill Cosby showed up to make a big deal out of this? Okay, that's weird. Anyways, Mormons love them some Jell-O mold. They bring it to every church function, which means they eat it 3 times a day. Why do Mormons love Jell-O so much? I'll tell you. One reason is Mormons can't drink or smoke or have coffee, and jiggly Jell-O is seen as a vice they can have. Okay, that's dumb. What if an Alaskan and a Mormon married? Would they make whale blubber Jell-O molds?
We'll return after these messages.
Our final worst state for food is Nevada. Sure, you can sample cuisine from around the world in Las Vegas, but that's not Nevada food. Nevada doesn't have any food. A typical dining experience in Nevada involves the $10.95 all-you-can-eat buffet that's located at every gas station, casino, and strip mall in the state. Where else can you stick on the same plate lobster, a soft taco, a gob of spaghetti, 3 mozzarella sticks, 2 egg rolls, and a piece of pizza? Oh, and don't forget the shrimp cocktail. Oh, and you didn't see the sushi the first time around. You gotta have that. That spaghetti was good. 1 more egg roll, and then you get to go back and get 3 sundaes. Yum. This meal could be a great family dinner, a power lunch, a quiet breakfast alone, or a romantic night out. So at least you could subsist here without much thought. Now, before we move on to the states with good food, let's briefly talk about food that's bad for you, but tastes great, like pizza. Here's a map which shows the states that have the most pizza chains. As you can see, Pizza Hut's very popular, especially in the eastern half of the US. This map shows which states have the most pizza restaurants per capita. West Virginia has the most. Hawaii hardly has any.
I see when it's up to me. I see when it's up to me. I see when it's up to me.
I see when it's up to me. I see when it's up to me. High C sure is good, but it's not good. Originally invented in 1947 with the original orange flavor, this drink was marketed as a giant dose of vitamin C, people. But it's only 10% fruit juice and mostly sugar. But look at all the flavors though. Poppin' lemonade, grabbin' grape, strawberry kiwi craze. Now we're gonna visit 5 states with great food. Or at least great according to experts and as determined by Americans who have tried a lot of different food, I suppose. This awesome chef is gonna prepare it for us. What do you have, chef? Texas? That makes sense. Almost everything here is good except the Tex-Mex. If you aren't privy to what Tex-Mex is, it's Texas's take on Mexican food. It's not that it's bad per se, but if you're gonna have Mexican food, then do it the Mexican way. The fajita style sauce on top of the burrito thing just isn't necessary. But that's just my opinion, Texas. Y'all love it, so you can have it. Outside of Tex-Mex, the rest is great. The hamburger was invented in Texas, as was the frozen margarita. And if you've ever heard of deep fried butter, this was first choked down at the Texas State Fair. But what really gets your mouth to water here is the BBQ. That's short for barbecue. The way Texans smoke their meat is what sets it apart. Typically using beef brisket, pork ribs, steaks, or sausage, each part of the state smokes its meat differently. Like in East Texas, the meat is slowly cooked over hickory wood until it falls off the bone. But in Central Texas, the meat is rubbed with salt and pepper and cooked over pecan, oak, or mesquite. Mike's Barbecue! Our next best state for food is Wyoming. Now, if you're a meat eater, this is heaven. If you don't like meat, or you want a variety, Unless you like potatoes, you're not gonna fit in. But salads are only good loaded with bad stuff anyways, right?
So don't drown your food in mayo, salt, ketchup, or goop. Yuck!
A giant ribeye with a side of bacon and a double cheeseburger, smoked ham wrapped chicken cutlets stuffed into a leg of lamb and smothered in gravy, pulled pork cracklings, ribs with a side of bacon bits, elk chops with sausage niblets on the side, trout soufflés, rabbit stew, duck chili, mutton muffins, and some of the best jerky man could possibly make. They even eat cow balls here. They're officially called Rocky Mountain oysters, but they're deep-fried testicles. Wyoming's the cowboy state. They're carnivores here. This state has over 11,000 farms and ranches, and they're the largest ranches in the country. America eats the second most meat per capita in the nation outside of Luxembourg, and one more hamburger each year than Australia. In fact, we eat exactly 102.5 pounds of meat per person every year. Our meat eating is off the charts. Well, almost off the charts. The chart ended.
We'll return after these messages.
Now, I'm not a fan of Louisiana food as much as a lot of other people are. That's mostly because of the time I ate too many crawfish after a long night out, but it's hard to argue against how uniquely traditional this state's cuisine really is. Louisiana might have the most well-known food varieties that are created in any state. Creole food is a hybrid of French, African, and Native American. It's a saucy, herby seafood dish like gumbo. Cajun food is more French Southern. It's very meaty with spices and rice like jambalaya. The sandwiches are great too. Stuff like muffaletta and po' boys, and desserts like beignets and king cake are the icing on the cake. Eating is an experience in Louisiana, people. Our next stop brings us to New York. Now, New York City used to be the place for food, but after the health crisis and all the rioting, many of New York's best restaurants are closing. Some of them for good. Like other states with various cultures, if you can think of it, you can find it in New York City. Serbian, Yemeni, Danish, Iranian, Armenian, Brazilian, Jamaican, Cuban, Chilean, everything. And then there's the bagels and the pizza and the street food. The street food in New York's better than most states' actual food. Shawarma and kebabs and tacos and dumplings and falafel and on and on and on and on and on. The worst food to come out of New York is the infamous garbage plate. It's basically, well, everything from the kitchen thrown onto one plate. Everything.
Open Denny's menu. You'll find something unexpected.
Oh,
Like chicken cacciatore. No. Fact is, all 6 of our new dinners are surprising. Come, see for yourself.
Are you sure we're at Denny's?
Now, Denny's was invented in California, but that is certainly not why California has the best food in the country. Due to the state's various cultures, you'll find just about everything you could want, including avocados and Mexican food. California grows more avocados than any other state, and they eat a lot of them here. But who cares about that? Let's talk about the Mexican food. The main reason California is the best place for food in the nation isn't the great sushi or the authentic Chinese, it's the Mexican food. Different parts of the state have their own take on Mexican food. In LA, it's ultra authentic, like the street food you'd find in, well, Mexico. But outside of LA, and there's a different American twist to it that's even better. And then there's San Diego, which likes their fish tacos. Some of the best Mexican food here come from street trucks or in nondescript hole-in-the-wall places. Alberto's Tacos! There's nothing like a California burrito. That's actually a thing. It's a large flour tortilla with carne asada, french fries, and cheese. And of course, always ask for refried beans inside. Even the fast food here is the best. Some of the best fast food joints in the nation got their start here, including my personal favorite, Del Taco. Those are the states with the best food in America. Now, which type of food is the most popular in the US? Bean burritos, chicken, and pizza. Very basic, boring stuff. Cereal was not in the top 10, but it should be. And of course, there are many foods which are good for you, but taste really bad, like asparagus, Brussels sprouts, liver, and brains. And no, eating brains doesn't make you smarter. So that's it. Our nation's best and worst places for food. Hope you learned something. It kind of puts things in a perspective because while there's some types of food that you might think are kind of gross, for other people it's a part of life. Like in Mississippi, where they eat coolicles. Those are pickles soaked in Kool-Aid. Yes, people eat that. The end. I just want to eat, but I don't want to eat bad stuff. I just want to eat. But I just want to eat good stuff. I want to eat food that is really good, not food that tastes like I'll die. I would cry if I had food like that all the time. I hate bad cuisine. I hate bad cuisine. I want a food scene. I want a food scene that's the best. Stuff to eat that's not a mess. If I have to clean my whole plate, I'm gonna puke my guts, I swear it. I hate bad cuisine. I hate bad cuisine. I want a food scene. I want a food scene that's the best. Stuff to eat that's not a mess. If I have to clean my whole plate, I'm gonna puke my guts, I swear it. If I have to clean that whole plate, I'm gonna puke my guts, I swear it. Blech. Gross. Hey guys, if you learned something new about America or what it's like to live in America, great! You should think about subscribing and turning on your notifications. You can also now buy my songs on iTunes and other formats. Click the link in the description. While we all might have different views, we should all be nice to each other and try to make the US a better place in a positive way.